What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys survived the recession of yesterday. It did pick up a little bit too much. We'll get into that in a second. But I hope you guys are doing absolutely incredible. You guys are piling into the room. We already got Alex. Good morning to Andy. We got Bill, Brian, Cindy, Doug, Goat Ate It. Good morning to Jeffrey, Jay, Joe, Josh, JT in the house. Good morning to LW. LW. Good morning to Martina, Richard, Jet. We got Sean Bell with us. We got Wing. Good morning to you. We got Rado in YouTube land. All my other peeps just lurking in the background of YouTube. Good morning to all you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe. You guys are already hitting that like. You guys are already smashing those buttons. I like it. Good morning to Daniel. We got Michael B. Whew. Man, we got the squad. So let's take a real quick, even before we get to the daily, let's take a look at SPY intraday for yesterday. And let's go over some pros and some deltas to yesterday in general. Let's take a look. So, couple things. One, really good gap up. Sentiment at the very open was probably a little bit more bullish than bearish. We had good numbers, good earnings, good everything. The world was a happy place. Then we started to give back. Okay, everything's kind of normal, getting some kind of a double bottom. Looks good on the daily still. We're rising, sentiment still there. And then right around this time frame, this is about I want to say about 1 o'clock is where we started to get the dip. Does anybody know what lined up with that dip? Does anyone know what happened around that time that could be interesting and one to watch? Something came out, something very important came out right around this time frame. No guesses? Fed meeting? No, not the Fed meeting. Yep, that's one of them. Bank of Japan came out around then. Aliens were also around then as well, but Bank of Japan was probably a little bit more. Aliens are usually more bullish. Aliens are more bullish, so because they're coming in with a whole new currency that just pumps the market up. So if you think about it, aliens would actually be more bullish. Now we actually had the bond auction right at that time frame. Right, we had the bond auction come out, and it was a little bit wacky, a little bit wonky, and that kind of that aligned with the Bank of Japan. So we had news for Bank of Japan. I think if I'm not mistaken, there was another rate hike for EU around that time too. So there was a couple reasons, but there was a little bit of disconnect in the bonds, which could have been related to Bank of Japan. But that is around the time where the bond auction that went off was a little bit strange, a little bit weird. Usually, people look at the bond market as they're the guys that actually know what's happening in a longer term basis. Like the market kind of moves off the bonds. There's a ton of money involved every single day, moving back and forth in the stock market. There is a heck of a lot more money in the bond market than there is in the stock market. So think about that for a second. The bond, because there's so much more money and wealth in bonds, there's a lot more power that the bond move could give to the market. The bond rate, yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know what the latest bond. We'd have to look it up, but yeah, there was a very strange auction. I forget what the exact thing was, but that's creating this bigger dip. So now the question is, let's do this real quick before we get into the daily. On a wave count basis, this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a massive 3, right? So this entire move after hours could be hour 4, right? This entire move that we're doing now could be 4. There is still a little bit of panic in the market. So now the question is, do we come in for this wave 5? And even if, every wave has a 5 wave count, I could see a full 5 wave count into that wave 3 as well. Right? So are we going to pull back first with fear of just things getting annihilated? Anybody bullish absolutely trapped yesterday? Anybody whose portfolio was up massive, probably ended the day kind of red. there could be some fear in the market due to all of this selling, right? And I do think that the selling was more or less due to more the bond market auction than anything else. But this is possible, right? This is possible. We do have, I mean, this is our current VPOC right now, so we are gapping up. We are at a little bit of volume here. If we could break through, I would say roughly, if we can get any closes above 456.32, I think that will take us back to this 457.31-ish zone, maybe into like 457. That could get us up there. There's not a lot of liquidity here to hold us back. But I think this could be a wave 4. Maybe we see a little more selling. Now let's go to the daily candle, and that was an interesting close as well on the daily. Right, so we're looking at the daily candle. This is a textbook reversal. So what I've been saying is, if I see a candle or see a reason to sell, to me, that would be the time to get the puts. That would be the time to really start to think about lightening positions up, right? In worst case, this candle is the opposite of this one here. Right. So this candle, this one came on CPI numbers, right? Very similar, but the exact opposite, right? So here we have a big, massive downtrend. CPI comes out, the world is ending. And then by the end of that day, we've covered up, we did 3 candles here, almost 4, right? Complete reversal. We have some volume in on this candle. And then what happened the next day? So the next day, we actually gapped up from there. We retraced, right? So we closed still in the downward direction, about 50% of that candle. And then we started to make that move. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to happen. We're definitely still in a bullish market. We went from that candle to essentially where we're at today, which is a lot higher on the charts, right? But let's take a look at yesterday's candle. So big, massive run up. Then you have gap up into it. We covered same thing, about 3 days and almost that 4th candle, actually. So covered 3 days of bullishness. We're right now at that 50% retracement. And again, I want to see where this candle closes today. It's going to be an extremely important candle. There's the volume that came in with it. So this could be a little sign. Is this the sign for this to happen and we just massively drop? I don't know. Right? Does this candle hold at all? Right? That's another question. So could we get this wave 5 and then we just bounce around today and just kind of hang out inside? My guess would be we hang out inside. And I think that some people might be looking at today's gap up as maybe start to lighten the positions in worst case. We need to get a close now above this candle. And then I think we rally very, very hard. So puts that open. It's your money. It's your money, Hector. I don't know. But just something to think about. Maybe at worst case, and I'm not saying go out, buy puts and go short everything and the world is ending and all that stuff. We're still stacked pretty nicely on all those moving averages. But what I am saying is maybe reconsider some of the longs for right now. Be careful getting in long here until we get some closes probably above this candle. Hector already got 12 puts in there for somehow he talked to the market, he called them early. We need you to open up. But yeah, so we are at a little bit of resistance. We've been fighting back half the losses that we gave out yesterday. We did have PCE come in today. That was in line, so nothing crazy to help beat. Jerome Powell says we're data dependent. So as long as the data is still, to me, in line doesn't give me good sentiment one way or the other, but it will tell me that the Fed could really just continue doing what they're doing and, expectations are still being met, right? So again, I don't know how we close today. Anything below this candle probably will give us our sign for a little bit more of a down push. Anything above this candle, that would probably rally us pretty hard into that 468 zone. So be very, very careful on this one. I would assume there might be a little bit more chop today because of it. We do have some options expiring today. albeit I don't think it's the bigger day, but just a bunch of stuff to watch out for. All right, so that's the SPY. We are dead flat into yesterday, and yesterday's selling did get a little bit wild. So we will see. Qs. So Qs are rallying a little bit harder. So we are above the 50% retracement from that day. Yeah, Jeffrey says, yeah, TLT looks down at crazy support. Not good if it breaks. Yeah, we got to watch the bond market. It was something was a little bit off on the bond market yesterday in terms of the auction. All right, so we are gapping a little bit heavier on the Qs. Again, Qs look a little different though, right? So Qs was not a gap out to all-time highs. SPY was. So Qs could have a little bit more room to run. We do have a little bit of resistance somewhere around 381.21. And then that would probably take us up to, I think we got to retest this 385.76. So we could still be a little stronger. We did have Intel come out yesterday. And they were expected to, I don't know why I spelled out the entire word. INTC. I don't know what I'm doing. But they were expected to lose yesterday. I think 7 cents, 3 cents, something like that. They ended up coming out to beat by, looks like 16 cents they beat by. And I think the revenue, yep. So the revenue beat by $828 million. So you're expecting to lose money. You make money on a company that is beat up. This one could have some more interesting room, but right around this $37 range, I think like 37.10, 37.15, somewhere around there is a little bit of resistance. So I don't know that I want to go long at open on Intel. We're going to push this one higher. They have made some substantial investments into a few new factories to build out some of the chips themselves. And we're going to see where that leads them in the future. For future, that could be good if everything works, but we are at a pretty big resistance on Intel at open. So I would expect maybe some profit taking, some pullback, and then we'll see if we want to get in long on Intel. But I don't know if I want to take it unless we start really breaking above that 37.10, 37.15. I think we get some more momentum to the upside. And then we start to enter a range where probably like 38.46 could be a target. And that's probably the final target of the day if we could get to that range, but we'll see. J Trey says, I'm only listening to Dan. Tony said, big gap down today. Anything could happen. I mean, tomorrow being Saturday, I think a big gap down comes in too. I mean, Saturday is the day. Yeah. I mean, anything could happen, right? So just take anything that anybody